Hello and welcome to another episode of NPC, Next Portable Console. That's Brendon Bigley over there in Tokyo, Japan. I'm John Voorhees. I'm in North Carolina. We're here to talk to you about portable handheld gaming, and we have, in fact, flipped the table, turned the table, done something with the table because it is bright and early Saturday morning in Tokyo, or Friday morning. What am I saying?
Yeah, it's Friday morning.
Bright and early.
Yeah.
Bright and early Friday morning in Tokyo, and in the evening here in North Carolina, Thursday. So, yeah, usually I'm the one doing the early thing the last few weeks.
But, I feel like last week you were dead tired and wearing, I think, a Nintendo Tokyo shirt, if I'm remembering correctly, and now I'm the one wearing the Nintendo Tokyo shirt. I did just finally hit that store. I went last time I was here, but the line to check out was so long that I was like, I can't even look at any of this stuff, or else I'm going to have to wait in that line because I'm definitely going to feel compelled to get something. And then when I went this time, it was like a couple hours before closing, so it was much more chill.
How do you think it compares to the New York store?
I mean, the stuff they have at the Nintendo Tokyo store is just like on a totally different level in a lot of ways. The Nintendo New York store I think is really cool and good, and if you're in New York, you should definitely go visit it. It's a really sick place. But the stuff at Nintendo Tokyo, like the thing that I always am drawn to, both times I've been at this point, the thing I'm always drawn to is they have this entire section that's like a line of Animal Crossing home goods. So it's like you can get an Animal Crossing coffee grinder, you can get Animal Crossing like dinnerware. You know, it's like kind of one of those things that sounds obvious when you hear about it out loud.
Yeah.
But for some reason is not a thing that they export anywhere outside of Japan. And the other one that really gets me, and I'm working on a little short form video about this, is they do. I think one of the biggest missed opportunities Nintendo has ever just kind of like let slip is not taking all of the fashion items from Splatoon and making them real. Like they should just have a real line of streetwear inspired by Splatoon.
Yep.
It's wild that they haven't done that. And at the Nintendo Tokyo store, they have like 4 items of Splatoon streetwear that's like ripped right out of the game. And it looks really cool, but it's so weird that there's so little of it. But I don't know. There's stuff here and there. Yeah, I'm on my God quest to find a Pro Controller for the Switch 2.
Oh, still looking for the Pro Controller?
I can't find one still. And I was like, would probably have one. Nintendo Tokyo. Sold out.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Well, maybe you'll get it when you get back to New York. I don't know. I haven't really looked for them here. I mean, they were available initially. I think right now the Switch 2 seems like it's selling out everywhere. There was a lot of stock, a lot of accessories, and it lasted for a few days into the launch, but it seems like a lot of that has dried up.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like most people who wanted one got one at launch, but if you waited any time past that first week, you're kind of out of luck at the moment.
Yeah. It's the sad thing, getting back to the stores, is that I did not make it to the Nintendo store in San Francisco. I literally had no spare time whatsoever. Federico and I were hoping to drive down there, but it's not that close to Cupertino, and if you get stuck in traffic, it can be a problem. And we were so booked up that we didn't have a big enough block of time to go there. Although I did get a couple of things. I have my people who go out and go to these stores for me instead. And known as my kids.
John's classic people. Yeah.
Yeah. And they brought stuff for me. So I got a Metroid water bottle and the t-shirt that I was wearing last week. So
yeah. I think that honestly that's maybe just like the biggest difference between the US stores and the Tokyo stores is like there's like in the New York store, there's like a Metroid wall. It's like, a little tiny kind of end cap, and it has 10 Metroid things. And then if you go to the Nintendo Tokyo store, it's like, here's the Metroid section. Like, here's the Zelda section with everything you could possibly imagine with a Triforce on it. And then the kind of more generic Nintendo stuff. And then they also have just a wall of every amiibo they've ever made that you can buy, which it seemed to be the draw for people. Like when I went in, it was like everyone was crowded around the amiibo wall, which people go wild for those things.
Did you see the Donkey Kong Direct?
I did.
Apparently any amiibo will work with that game.
I know. I'm excited about it.
And give you some sort of globe sphere thing that you can throw around and destroy things with.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Honestly, that Direct, maybe the first bit of news to talk about.
Yeah.
the Nintendo Switch 2, pretty good launch overall, but I think the one thing that everybody kind of agrees on is the launch lineup is basically Mario Kart World and then like ports or remasters of other games.
Yeah, it's pretty thin.
Not a lot of exclusive stuff. So Donkey Kong Bonanza is kind of like the next thing that everybody has their eyes on. And that direct, it was 15 minutes long. That direct was incredible. Like, that game looks remarkable. The thing that I felt while I was watching it was like, not only do I think this plus Mario Kart by itself, like if this had come out at the same time as Mario Kart, I think people wouldn't be complaining about the launch lineup, even though it's only 2 games instead of just 1.
Yeah.
But it feels like the kind of game with the way the physics work and the destruction works that people will just be stealing from forever. Like, people will be ripping off Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think, for the next like decade. I think it's amazing. I think it's an amazing looking thing.
It is a really amazing game. And what's amazing to me is that treehouse that they did after the initial, I guess, Switch 2 announcement was really deep. It was like, what was that, like 2 hours long? And there was so much that they didn't show.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I think we talked about that last week. We weren't even really expecting a direct about Donkey Kong. But in fact,
I don't think Pauline was in that treehouse. I think they had removed Pauline from his back. It turns out Pauline, like young Pauline, is like riding Donkey Kong's back throughout the entire game. I don't think she was in the treehouse at all.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I didn't watch every minute of the treehouse, but I saw most of it, and I don't remember seeing Pauline either. I'm pretty sure there wasn't any
amazing.
Pauline. So that was a big reveal, obviously. And then a bunch more mechanics that really weren't, spelled out at the time. So yeah, it's really cool. Another thing about, speaking of your Pro Controller quest, I saw that there's been some controversy online about whether or not the D-pad works correctly. And we've got this in the show notes. There's a YouTuber, and I'll put the link, I forget who it was, who was playing Mario Maker. And when you press the up part of the D-pad, the character, Super Mario, Mario would run left and right. And I don't know. I went and I didn't try it on Mario Maker. I tried it on just like SNES Super Mario World, and it was totally fine. I think it's a game thing. I think it's a bug in the game. I don't think it's actually a controller issue. It was kind of pitched as a controller issue, but I don't think it probably is.
Yeah. From what I've heard, it sounds like pretty much everybody loves the Pro Controller. So I imagine any slight defect, because I felt this way when the Pro Controller came out for the Switch. Well, I actually felt this way about the Wii U Pro Controller, but like, that was my favorite controller I'd ever used until the Switch one came out, and I imagine that will also be the case until I get my hands on the Switch 2 one. Like, Nintendo's Pro Controllers since the Wii U era have just been amazing. The thing about the Wii U one, just to deviate real quick, that I think is amazing, is the Wii U one had an unbelievable battery life. It was like, it felt like a Kindle. It felt like an e-reader, and that's because it was leftover 3DS batteries that they used for it. So imagine all the power of the 3DS pumped into like just making a controller work.
Part.
No screens, no 3D.
Screen,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I've always heard lots of good things about that Pro Controller. Never had one myself.
Yeah, it was amazing. I had 4 of them because like I was playing a lot of Smash and a lot of Mario Kart 8 with my friends, like split screen. And you could have done the GameCube adapter thing, but I don't know. I just love the Pro Controller. I went all in on it, and I have ever since.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I think you are going to like the Pro Controller. I haven't had any issues with mine. Can't say that I've used it a huge ton. Yeah, I usually only use it when I'm playing on the TV. But I will say though, the ergonomics of using the Switch 2 handheld. I was doing it again like last night. I had like Nintendo Switch claw very quickly. I mean, it was. Yeah,
I got to send you a pair of my $4 silicone grips I got last week.
I know. I think I'm going to need to, just break down and buy something like that. I was kind of waiting to see, something nicer that someone comes out with, but I do need something in the interim, I think, just kind of as a temporary fix, especially if it's only like $4.
Yeah, I did actually end up ordering the kill switch to my apartment in Brooklyn. So when I'm home, I'll be able to swap them out, hopefully. But that just feels like the natural upgrade. I don't know if you've seen, like if you've really looked closely at the kill switch, but what they're doing, I think with the Joy-Cons in particular, is really interesting. The back kind of like curves out So you have this like kind of natural resting place for your fingers to go, almost as if there were like lower triggers on the on the Joy-Cons, but like it's really just like a resting point. It looks really comfortable, honestly. I'm excited, and it seems like people who have it already are really into it. So between that and then the travel case, I don't know. I think that's gonna be a worthy upgrade from my $4. I think they're called Range Life. I've had a lot of people asking for the name of the brand. It's called Range Life. I did a bunch of research to see if they ship to the US, and it doesn't seem like they do. And I haven't found like another, like there's a couple like Play Asia and Buy and all of these other like international shipping services. I haven't seen them listed anywhere there. It's like really just on shelves at department stores here.
Well, trip to Japan, get yourself $4 grips. I guess we should explain that why Federico's not here.
Oh yeah, I don't know why he's not here.
I don't think we did that. Well, because we changed the time, and he had something going on this morning. I have something going on tomorrow, and so it's just the difficulty of our time zones and the fact that we all have various things going on in our lives.
We sure do.
He'll be back next week. I suspect. So for now, you're just gonna have to put up with me and Brendon.
Yeah. Can we talk about the RG slide?
Yeah, we should talk about it because apparently it smells like penguins.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, I don't know what I mean by it because I was reading the Retro Handhelds website and they immediately, right out of the box almost in this article, explain how opening the box, it smells like a penguin exhibit at the zoo. And they then comment that that's not so bad. And I will tell you, this is a brief aside. I went to Patagonia in 2015. And I went all the way down to the point of South America and went out onto an island that had 20,000 penguins on it. And you know what, Brendon? Those penguins smell disgusting.
Yeah.
There's penguin poop everywhere.
Famously.
That's all it is. It's like a big rock, bunch of holes in the ground where the penguins live, no vegetation whatsoever, because all they do is go into the sea and eat the fish. And penguin poop everywhere. Oh my God. It doesn't smell good. So that to me is not a selling point of the RG slide.
Yeah. Well, that, and then also the price just got announced as well, which Embernick, at least the day that we're recording this, begins a 3-day sale they're doing where you get $10 off if you pre-order it. So I think by the time this episode comes out, it'll be the last day of that pre-order thing. But anyway, the thing is going to be $190 retail, $180 if you get that discount. And I was thinking about this last night while I was on the subway. I was just like, it feels to me like a reaction to the Retroid in a way, where like the Pocket 5 and the Flip 2 in particular, where like they were watching what Retroid did and they were like, oh, the new mid-range is like $200. So we're going to
especially when you're talking, especially if you're talking about Android, right? I mean, I think that's kind of the idea is, Android devices are like $200.
Right. So we're going to like undercut, the two most popular Android devices at the moment by $10, $20, and that'll put us in a good spot. But then I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is this really for? Like 120 hertz seems to be a thing that some people like. I don't really personally need that. So then the thing that I'm asking myself is like, do I want to pay $200 for that form factor and the ability to play GameCube on a different device than the one I already am? Which, not everybody has the problem of having as many devices as we have doing this podcast. But I do think one of the things that's worth noting is like, I imagine you're the same way. A lot of people ask me like, hey, what handheld should I buy? I'm interested in these handheld things. Like, what should I get? I want to play GameCube. And like, for $190 or even $180, I don't know if I'm going to point them towards this one, which can play it at like 1x, maybe 2x resolution, when I could instead say like, pay an extra $10 or go on eBay and get a Retroid Pocket 5 or a Flip 2 for, basically the same price and have way better performance. It just seems like really kind of out of the realm of what I would expect. I feel like the form factor and 120 hertz display is actually what you're paying for here, more so than the processor.
I think so. I think the 120 hertz only really makes sense if you're into Android gaming. I mean, you're not going to really get anything out of that if you're doing emulation, I don't think.
I've seen some people claim that 100. I haven't tried this myself, to be clear, so it might be true. But I've seen some people claim that if you throw like CRT filters and stuff on and use black frame insertion on RetroArch, it makes a difference. Yeah, it looks more like natural towards what CRT is supposed to look like, but. That's such a niche thing. And maybe for those people who have that niche taste, like this is a totally fine asking price for that. But to
Right.
me, there's a version of this that's like significantly cheaper and is like the RG Slide XX or something, and has that 800
Right.
H700 chip in it. Or even the thing that I keep asking for, begging for, basically on this podcast is like a handheld that's just targeting PSP. Like I don't need it.
Mm.
Like this one plays PSP up to I think 3x resolution based on some of the testing I
Mm-hmm.
saw. I don't need that. Like target
Right.
just base PSP, and that'll take
Mm-hmm.
you further than most of the H700 stuff that we've seen. Like that to
Yeah.
me is the middle range. I think that I'd
Yeah.
prefer to
I
aim
think
for.
I think the other thing that's kind of working against this particular handheld is the bulk of it, because
Yeah.
every single review is that it's really thick and it's really heavy. It's
Yeah.
thicker and heavier than you even think it is.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing,
Yeah.
especially at that price point. And it only has Wi-Fi 5, so this is not necessarily going to be an ideal streaming device either. So really, that 120 hertz, if it's not for those, maybe the filter thing is a thing, but
Yeah.
if you're not playing Android games on it, I don't know that it's going to make much difference having that. So
This has been such a weird trend. I mean, I think we talked about this last week, but it's been such a
Yeah.
weird trend with Ambernick this year. It's just like every device feels like it should be great and should be a no-brainer, but there are just like 3 or 4 things on the spec sheet that just make you go, like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah. It's a little too expensive. The
Yeah.
Wi-Fi is a little slow. Why are you even bothering with the 120 hertz? Yeah, it's not one that I'm that interested in, really. I mean, I know you're a PSP guy, so do you think you're gonna order one?
The thing that I wrote about on Wavelengths yesterday was like, I will consider it when the holiday sales roll around. I think if we can get it
Yeah.
under $150. I think if I could get that thing, I've seen some people saying that if you pre-order it and also use like an AliExpress code, you can get it at around $150. I think if I can get it
Okay.
closer to 120, which I know is like a huge dip, then
Yeah.
I'd probably consider it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I need to
I think
refresh
up
or
to
something.
about 130 might be where I would consider it. I think that would be like my top dollar for something like this, maybe 125. I don't know. I'm kind of right there with you on that. It's just a little too expensive for what it is. And while the difference isn't monumental, it's still, for what it is, it's not one that I feel like I really need. So I wouldn't want to spend more than normal on it. So
I love all the people in all the comment sections begging it to be a phone. That's my favorite thing. Or people like, it looks so much like the Sidekick or the Xperia Play. Like, why can't I just connect to cellular? Which I think is amazing. Like the fact that people desperately want that thing to be a phone is so good. Honestly, I would try that. I would give it a try.
if it were nice and thin, I would. But I think it would look like putting a brick up to your head if the way this thing looks. But
That's true. But for all of it, I mean, we could all stand to use our phones a little less. So
that's true.
Maybe the bulk
And
of it would prevent us from
get a
using
little
it so much.
exercise at the same time, right? Do a little weightlifting when you're using your phone. I don't know. I mean, that'd be good for that. Work on your biceps, I suppose. But yeah, part of it is I feel like Anbernic is basically taking cell phone parts, slapping on these other parts, and as a result, I don't think there's a lot of hardware engineering design going into trying to make this thing as thin as it possibly can be. In the way that maybe a phone manufacturer could do.
Yeah, it honestly looks a lot like one of the mods I tried doing on my PSP Go, which was to remove the back and the battery and to put a PlayStation Vita battery in instead. Like the back shell that everybody buys for that mod is like really just gigantic, and like it's just to have so much extra room, but like wasn't really designed in a way that like actually is form fitting to the PS Vita battery or anything, which is very silly. But it always reminds me of that when I look at it.
Well, you're no stranger to the thick PSP, so
that's true.
Get the price down. It's yours.
That's what I'm saying. Like the thickness doesn't really bother me, and like I mentioned, I think last week, but like, it's the size of the original Nintendo DS, and when I was a kid, that fit into my pockets. So I imagine, hopefully, as an adult, especially considering big baggy pants are in, we should be fine.
Yeah, good belt, and you're good to go.
It's all about a good belt, John. That's what I'm always saying.
You don't want that thing pulling your pants down. Come on. So I don't know. Well, what else do we have to talk about today? Let's see. Did you see that there are some switches that are getting bricked already because people are using the MIG flash to
Yeah.
move carts onto memory, and that's triggering the ban. So be careful out there.
The big problem here, really, I was talking to some people about this the other day. Like, they were like, "How do you think they're doing that? Like, how do you think they're figuring that out?" It's like there's just the one company making those flash cards. Like, the MIG switch is like the only one that exists. And if I'm at Nintendo and I want to target the people using flash cards, there's really only one spec you need to check against. Like, I wonder if it's like hard coded into literally the cart slot on the Switch too. That's like, is this a MIG switch? Yes or no? Because it just feels like a really, really obvious target. I think it's a bummer that they're doing it. I think flash carts are amazing, and I think they're incredibly convenient. And I enjoyed using them when I was testing stuff for the Nintendo DS and the Game Boy Advance for Into the Aether. But like, I would be really hesitant to use one for the Nintendo Switch, but I also really wish that they existed. Kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it is a bummer.
I wonder, here's a weird thought. I wonder if with the virtual card and the key card system, like Nintendo could actually make one themselves. Because they now have this like profile,
I suppose so.
This profile locked way of checking to see if you're using the same software on multiple systems. Like, could they make a thing that is like, here is your like virtual multi-card or something that you could plug in?
In a way, they kind of do with the internal storage, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, the goof would be that you'd have all that stuff just downloaded onto memory, right? So like, wouldn't actually be on the card itself. But in terms of like, I know people hate the game key card thing going on with a lot of the physical copies of games right now. But if you had this like physical card that just kind of like had the unlock keys for a bunch of games, I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be, here under the Christmas tree this year, you've got a cart that's just a bunch of keys for like a dozen games, right?
Yeah. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, it would be interesting. It'd be a small package, but hey, it'd be a lot of valuable games.
Yeah. I just like the convenience of that, I think would work for some people. I don't know. People are so angry about the game key card thing. I don't think that would happen. I saw, oh my God, what game was it? Oh, I saw a report yesterday. I'm not gonna be able to find it in time. I saw a report yesterday that was like some anonymous quotes from developers of third-party games for the Switch 2 who were saying that sales have not been great for their games. Which I think there's a lot of things we could talk about in terms of why that's happened. But all of the replies were like, this is what you get for releasing your game as a physical key card instead of actually putting the game on the card. And I was like, I don't think the game key card thing is great, but also you're a little too online if you think that's the reason why these games aren't selling. Like, that is a thing that people on like Reddit and in the replies on Blue Sky think. That's not like a thing that real people think for the most part.
Yeah, I really don't buy that either. I mean, I think probably Nintendo hasn't marketed those games super well. And the focus has been on the big first party game, Mario Kart. So I think those two things probably have something
I think it comes down to the fact that every other game that's out is a re-release of a game you could have bought elsewhere 5 years ago, I think the next best selling game after Mario Kart World is Cyberpunk. Like, how long has Cyberpunk been out? And people think it looks great on the Switch too, but like, I don't know, just I think the other new game is Rune Factory.
Yeah, it's probably number 2 also because it's an expensive game. And it's like I think it's 60. I don't know. It's just a thin lineup. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Yeah. I think Donkey Kong will sell really well, Bonanza.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we got, John?
We have emuready.com. This is a brand new website that's kind of in beta, and it's okay. I mean, it's got a long way to go, but the idea is crowdsourcing how, where you can go to have your emulation figured out, right? It's just an emulation compatibility tracker is all it really is. But it's a really nicely designed website. It's ready. It's got all the categories for everything. It just needs the community to pop up around it to help it get going. So I just thought I'd mention it because I took a look at it the other day and thought, yeah, I'm going to bookmark this and come back to it later because eventually I think it'll have a lot of good stuff in it that and a good way to kind of figure out where your games are.
Yeah, it's funny right now that like every compatibility chart is just like in the sidebar of a subreddit for a specific device. You know, like, okay, you go to the Odin subreddit and then you can check out the compatibility chart for whatever the most modern Odin devices are, et cetera,
or somebody's got like a Google sheet somewhere linked in some thread somewhere. Yeah.
Right. Which is, you know, sometimes like editable, even if it shouldn't be by anybody.
Right.
So you just get a bunch of like weird stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I think building a site that does this and kind of compiles all of those into one space, I think makes the most sense. So shout out to Emu Ready. It looks great. I think hopefully it works out. It feels like an emulation version of ProtonDB for the Steam Deck, which is a great thing to have.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Brendon, we need to talk about AYANEO. AYANEO is up to it again.
Yeah, I know.
Did you see? Did you see the Starship? Did you see the Starship? It's finally here. The Starship has arrived.
I don't understand why graphics cards need to look like this.
I don't think it looks nice at all.
Yeah, can you explain what it looks like? What do you think this looks
all right.
like?
So it's a bright red spaceship that goes around your graphics card. I don't know. It's like a spaceship on its side, kind of.
Yeah.
It's got a big button you press, which glows red, I think, and it's an eGPU.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't look like a particularly nice eGPU to begin with. I mean, it's okay, I suppose. But if you want an AMD Radeon RX 7600M XT, you can do this. And it's got both USB 4 and Oculink.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, the specs are nice. What they're targeting visually is like a 1980s retro future spaceship, you know, not talking like Star Wars, Star Trek. We're talking like more Ridley Scott Alien if it wasn't so decrepit in a way. And it's kind of like a spaceship hot rod, I guess. I just think I don't know. You're doing a better job with the description than I am. It's just like, I don't know why gaming accessories need to look like this. I just really I wish you could have some sleeker stuff. I mean, honestly, that's the thing. Oh my God, what is it? The 1X GPU. That's the thing I kind of like about that is like, it's just kind of like a black oval that like blends into the background. If you turn the LED lights off, of course, everything else has to have LEDs, but if you turn the LEDs off, it's just like a black oval that just kind of like sits in the corner.
It looks like a battery bank almost. I mean, it really is unobtrusive. You just put it off to the side. This, however, will scream, I have a funny looking eGPU in my living room. And the hot air blows out the engines of the Starship.
Do they have a price on this? Doesn't look like they do.
I mean, it's AYANEO. No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I'm just wondering, like, I think the thing that would get people to buy this if it was like cheaper. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's got Oculink and USB 4. My guess is it's not super cheap.
Yeah. Can I pivot real quick to this TrimUI Brick update?
Oh yeah.
They're making.
What do you think?
Okay. So they've announced and already opened for pre-orders all at the same time. They announced the TrimUI Brick Hammer, which is essentially a metal shelled version of the TrimUI Brick. So it's all the same internals, but it just comes in a metal shell in a bunch of colors. They have it in like a kind of rose gold, closer to pink, honestly, than rose gold. But, you know, it's that like a lime green and then like a black kind of like gunmetal.
Right.
And it looks amazing. It's a little bit more expensive. I think it's like closer to $100 now. And I think this is like just an amazing move for them. The amount of excitement I saw about this announcement, like literally people texting me being like, "Did you see this?" was more so than I get for most devices, which I love for just like a metal update to the TrimUI Brick. But I think it just goes to show how much people love the brick. What I think is also cool, if I'm not mistaken, is you can buy the shell separately and then do the conversion yourself if you have a brick already.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's very interesting. I mean, I saw this and immediately gravitated to it. I mean, it's kind of funny when you kind of put this side by side with the RG Slide, which is also sort of form over function, arguably, right? But this is just done so well, and I think it's the difference is that the TrimUI Brick is already a known quantity and beloved by a lot of people. So having a nice premium finish on it would be really nice, and still, at a pretty reasonable price, I think, for given that it would be in metal.
Yeah, honestly, I think it looks beautiful. I think if I didn't have a brick already, I would maybe consider this. And also, I'm like,
I would
personally so into clamshells right now that I don't think I'm going to go back to the brick anytime soon, realistically.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. If I didn't have it, maybe I would get one. I like the gray a lot, although green also is kind of calling to me, I think.
The green is so cool.
And the pink really isn't rose gold. I mean, it's pretty clearly pink. There's no gold in that pink. I don't think.
I agree. Honestly, that's probably the one I would get. Would be the pink one. It just man, what a cool looking device. The TrimUI Brick is amazing, and if this is what TrimUI decides to do from now on, is just like iterate on the brick, cool. I saw some mock-ups for a clamshell brick that they're not real. They were just like, community made. Yeah. But oh man, that lit a fire under me that I probably won't extinguish until I can actually get my hands on one.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I wonder if they'll ever do like an OLED screen. I don't know that they need to because their screen's already so good.
What if it was 120 hertz, John, and played GameCube at 1x resolution?
And ran Windows.
Yeah.
On that tiny little screen. Get the Xbox app going on there. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's probably a bridge too far. I think the metal's more than enough.
You know what? I misread the announcement post because I translated it to Japanese, and then I translated it because I'm in Japan, and then I auto-translated it back to English instead of just going to the English website. You cannot buy the shell separately, although it feels like the announcement image has the shells separate from the devices themselves. So I thought you could buy the shells separately.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's too bad. But I guess I can kind of understand that. So
yeah. Either way, cool looking device. I think the price is right, honestly, for people who want something like this. One of the things that they said about it too is that they made it as scratch resistant as possible, which I think is helpful because I think that's one of the big things that people are concerned about when they buy metal devices like this is how much they get scratched up. You had that with your Hammerneck, right?
Yeah, definitely. And this one, I mean, it's pretty polished. It's a pretty polished finish on the outside, so you could see it scratching for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. A cool device, though. Really cool device. What else we got?
The other AYANEO story, which is the Pocket S2, which is out and available on Indiegogo. So, yeah, I mean, it's out there. It's expensive. Shocker. Even if you buy it on early bird, it's pretty expensive. There's a million different versions. There's a base version, a pro version, and a limited edition version, which as far as I can tell is just the pro version in extra colors for an extra $100.
Yeah.
The pro version has things like a replaceable D-pad, a bigger battery, charges faster, but it's also heavier, and it has more memory too, I guess.
Yeah. Starting at $440.
Right, and going and climbing up as much as $600 if you want the limited edition, and it's going to ship in July.
Yeah, man.
So they say.
I really want one of these. That's the reason I clown on AYANEO so much. I think is just like truly it is born of I'm self-aware enough to know it's born of envy a little bit. Like I really do want one. Everyone I've ever talked to who's used the Pocket S1, like the original Pocket S, is like it's by far one of the best handhelds ever made. And I mean, it looks like it's absolutely beautiful. But I mean that price is not right.
The only thing is that the sticks look a little small to me. I don't know.
They do look a little small.
And the buttons too. The face buttons are a little tight and small there.
Yeah. I wonder. Think? I mean, you could probably throw some thumb grip caps on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's an interesting D-pad though. It's an 8-way D-pad on I think that's only on the Pro version, the Pro and the LE version. But
for people who really love accidental diagonals.
Yeah, I mean it's designed for accidental diagonals.
Yeah,
it's a feature. Oh man,
So is that it? Is that it for this
I
episode?
think that's about it. I think that's what we got for today. We're going to do NPC XL after this. Brendon has been shopping at local retro game stores in Japan and wrote up a little piece about it on wavelengths.online. So, we thought we would talk a little bit more about that in Excel so people can get kind of the download for what it's like there, because there's one thing I know is there's an awful lot of those shops in Tokyo and other parts of Japan. So
there sure are. Yeah.
You've been in quite a few of them. So yeah, we'll talk about them. All right, everybody, that is it for today's episode. You can find Brendon at wavelengths.online and on Into the Aether. You can also find me and Federico over at macstories.net, and all three of us are on social media. Just search for our names and you'll find us there. Until next week, Brendon, talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.